Hello? Good. Good morning, good afternoon. Good to see you. This is a bit good to see you, everyone. Nice to be here with you. This is the first office hour, so I'm trying to learn how this works. I'm trying to see if I can see people or not. I see there's 19 people already on the call. So let me see how we can get everyone to participate. If anybody has some ideas, let me know. But I want to start. Let's use the chat for the time being, the Q&A. And then we'll figure out how we can get people into the call and contribute. Let me see here, promote to panelists, remove report 22. Okay. Well, I think there's already 22 people. We'll figure out how to make this work. I still not able to see everyone. Weird. Okay. Well, we'll learn while we go. This is the first time I use. So welcome. These are short meetings, a format I discussed with some colleagues at Projects and Co. and other people. The idea behind this the office hours came to mind when I was at Thinkers 50 in London last November, and I don't recall the name, a professor from Harvard. She had gone through cancer, quite difficult cancer, and then luckily went uh, uh, over, and she said that she started to reconnect with people through these open office hours, and the first meeting was attended by 5 people, then 10, then 12, and slowly she started to build a very strong community. We already have a strong community, but I wanted to make this open space for everyone who is interested on transformation and projects. There's a lot of people from the projects and company network that we're also trying to prioritize this year. Been working with Al Zaytoun, Kevin, Antoine, to discuss how we can improve the go-to-market. But today is more about discussion. So what's the goal of these open hours? I call it transformation powered by projects weekly. So this is not a webinar. It's not a training. It's just a thinking room, a sharing room, dealing with real transformation, execution project challenges. There's no slides, there's no polished answers. And today what I wanted to do is explore the tension many organizations are living with, but Raleigh talk about it opening, which is transformation is led through projects, but leaders, they still think about hierarchy. So transformation is led through projects, is run through projects, but leaders still very much think about hierarchies to do transformation and other work. So the idea is that I'm looking for volunteers who want to share really very briefly. I think the contributions here is less than a minute, it's 30 seconds. Thank you for the comments. I'm trying to figure out here, no chat box, only Q&A. So I think there's something wrong. Something wrong with the settings. I did that, but the question is, if transformation runs on projects, why do leaders still manage through hierarchies? If transformation runs on projects, why do leaders still manage on hierarchies? So I want to ask you, do you see this in your organization? Where does this tension happen most clearly in your organization? Anyone wants to share? I think you can talk. So raise your hand, please, and I will put you there so that you can share, please. And I'll need to figure out all this. But there's anybody wants to share about this tension? Benjamino, let me allow you to talk. Let's see if this works. Benjamino, can you talk, please, and share? You should be able to talk.
Antonio, can you hear me?
Yeah, we'll hear you. Yeah.
Okay, very well. For me, the answer is the following. Even if they realized business organization is done vertical, you know, unfortunately is not matching with what this means running transformation by project. And this is really the big things, because the organization is still vertical. And as I saw in your comment, some people asked the other days in your post, they think that changing, putting new organizational chart, it's enough. Changing a name, putting a name is still vertical, doesn't work out with the project organization itself. This, for me, what I see in my company, the main issue.
Thank you, Benjamino. So yeah, the hierarchy, the names, and then the power that goes with that, right? Decision making and others. It's a big challenge. Also, I want to ask you, because I don't know, is what decisions are still made hierarchical when they should be done within the transformation or the project? Just another thought. Anita, good to see you. I'll make you talk, and sorry, I cannot share the image, but we'll need to
Yes.
keep that for next time.
Okay. I think it's a great thing to be with you. I think one thing is already Benjamin mentioned the power and also politics, and I think many leaders are not qualified in their position. They know it, and they
Sorry, Anita, something happened. Try again. Yeah, go
Yes,
ahead, please. Sorry.
yes. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, perfect. There was
Yeah.
a button.
Okay. Benjamin mentioned already that it is about the power, and I think many leaders are not qualified to hold the position. And when they delegate and leave the work to other teams, they will be successful and outperform the leader. So they fear that others become better than them, and then they have no position in the company anymore because others can do better. So I think it's really politics, loss of power, and also the fear that others are better than them. I have seen this in many customer projects. I also suffered from it, and it's still like in Central Europe, it's still the game.
Wow, Anita, this is really interesting. So you're saying that leaders are afraid of losing the power.
Yes. Because why are in the position? Usually, like, yes, I want to be in the management. Because why? Because you can shape things. You are a visionary. You have great ideas. Or the ego. You are somebody. You have power. You have some people below you. You can like determine over others. So it's maybe I'm very pessimist, but I've experienced this. Maybe I'm biased, but I think this is really what I've encountered in many situations.
Thank you. Very interesting, Anita. And it leads to another thought is, are leaders the right leaders we need now, or can they be trained? I don't want an answer. This is for next week, but thank you, Anita. I'm going to the next point here because there's already a few people talking, which I love that. Thank you, Anita. Thank you, Benjamin. Now let me go to Joanna. Welcome, Joanna. Let me allow you to talk.
Yeah, hello. Welcome from Austria. So greetings from Austria.
Nice.
Yeah. Yeah, so I can totally agree with Anita before said. Yeah, this I can also feel very much. I'm working in automotive industry at the moment. So I really see this. What I can personally say as a project manager, where I see a lot of tension in this area is especially product management, where the product managers really want, as mentioned, give this business view, and they are not open for it for example, for ideas from the team, and they don't see this as a project as one as together, but really as their requirements and their business view. So they just maybe see one view of the market and of this. Yeah.
Okay, wow, interesting. It's something common that we see in Central there in Europe. Thank you. I like that view, Joanna. And the idea is I'm not going to answer. This is free discussion, comments. We'll try to summarize at the end. But I love that we have different points of view. And sorry for the technical challenges here. I first time I put a webinar, first time I used live streaming in LinkedIn, YouTube. I done it alone and it's a mess. I see I need some more practice. Anyway, Edem, welcome. Tell us, what's your view here?
Yes, thank you very much, Antonio. Greetings from Red Hill, small town in England.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so I think a lot of the problem has been talked about. Yeah, talking about control, leaders want control, there's politics, egos are in play. But one thing that I've noticed is that for some of these big businesses, they've also started what they call digital factories, right? So for these transformation projects, some of them are using these digital factories as a way to operate in a startup form to do things quickly. So maybe that can be a spin to this discussion, right? Maybe we can sort of try to introduce this idea of some of these factories as a way for them to transform better, so we can avoid some of the struggles we have if we want to run transformation projects in their traditional business operations. So those are just my thoughts.
Okay, then thank you. It's something I tried to address in the new book on project-driven organization, exactly. But thank you, really good points, Edem. Thank you for that. Here's another question. You know, there's a lot of people with where do we, as a project leader, transformation leader, where do we have accountability without authority? So meaning we blame if the project fails, but we don't have the authority to take action, right? So it's not in our control or remit. Another thought. Apologies for the coughing. So here, let me go to Mohammed. Hey, hello. What's your view on this very critical topic? Let me allow you to talk. I didn't know I need to allow people to talk. Wow. Okay, Mohammed. Yeah, you're next. Where are you calling from? El Helali, Mohammed, you can talk. Okay. Mohammed, we'll try to figure that later. If you can talk, just let us know. Oh, Elena Pavlova, come and tell us what's your view.
Hello? Hello?
Oh, okay, Elena, let's wait for Mohammed. Mohammed, yes, go ahead. We hear you.
Perfect. Sorry for that.
No problem.
I'm calling from Cairo, Egypt, so a different part of
Nice.
the world. Yep. So I'm really quite glad that you mentioned the second question, because it's, in a way, in my opinion, it goes to the first part as well, is delegation. Sometimes I heard CEO says people refuse delegation, and I kind of surprised when I hear that, because why would someone refuse delegation? And it's because of exactly what you said, is they give you authority, they give you the responsibility, but if you fall, you take the hit. If you succeed, everyone takes the succession. So I was like, okay, why would I put myself in that position? That's big part of it, is delegation done wrong, not in the proper way, not giving autonomy and authority and power, and taking the accountability / responsibility at the same time. The first part, the first one also is for the hierarchy part, is sponsorship. So any transformation more or less needs to have a sponsor. So if it's just the project manager who's not an MD or EVP or CEO or CEO or whatever, the C-suite, if that coming from the sponsor, no one will take action. They was like, okay, we will report it to the management. Okay, we will do this, but there's no more of a power per se. So that's why still it's hierarchical based, not project based.
Yeah. Thank you, Mohammed. Yes, absolutely. That's one of the challenges. Let me go to, I had Elena waiting there. So please, Elena.
Hi, everyone. I'm calling from Chicago, and I'm working with the building industries now. And I would like to bring in a question regarding involving functional leaders and middle management level people at the project implementation. What I observe, people at this level very often are involved in the implementation stage, but they are not involved into the idea and planning stage. So they perceive they're just giving orders, and their responsibilities and their functions are not accounted for in the very planning stage. And sometimes, to tell you the truth, some ideas coming from the top are barely relevant to the people in the field and the people at the mid-management level. So I think if their opinion would be at least accounted for at the planning stage, the implementation would go much, much easier.
Good point. I like that point. And yeah, and the role of the leaders, the implementation. Thank you, Elena. Very interesting. Let me go now to John Beaton. John, I just don't know what you see on your screen, but I need to allow people to talk. And then in my screen, I have only black. So we'll fix that next time. But John, welcome and tell us what you think.
This is John Beaton. I'm from outside of Calgary. My thoughts are, and I'm going back to Anita's comment about leaders and the power and the ego. I think part of it starts from if you have a building block mentality versus a project management mentality. So what that means is you have to look at the foundation of absolutely everything. So what's the foundation of those leaders? Their foundation is their thinking of power of ego. What if you give them power and ego through the understanding of project management? Now, I haven't read your book, but I took a quick look, and with all the different components in there, what I see, Antonio, is that you've got the building blocks there. The idea is just sort of transfer that concept into that you're helping leaders with the foundation of those building blocks. And then it's a way to give authority and continuity to other people to make ongoing decisions. That's my quick thoughts.
I like it. Thank you, John. I appreciate all the comments. If they're different and they're against or have different view, I appreciate that you keep it short so that we can have a fluid dialogue. So thank you, everyone. Also, the comments in the Q&A. So these are great. I recommend that you have a look. I might ask some of you to share. Catherine McCarthy, welcome. What you see here? Sorry, I need to allow you to talk. This is crazy. Now you can talk, Catherine, sorry. Catherine, let's see. You should be able to talk now. In the meantime, while we get Catherine, I have Guy Wolf also.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yeah, Catherine, yeah, we can talk.
Oh, hi.
We can hear you. Welcome.
Hi, thank you. Hi, I'm Catherine and I'm from London. A couple of points from me. The first one to do with the about the roles, the position. The way I see it is that there's not enough senior roles for people in the project world. So what we tend to see is that people, because they want career progression and they want increases in salaries, that increase in their grades, that they can't really do that through project management. So they'll look for other sort of avenues to get to the senior table. Yes, you know, so you have a seat at that senior table. And then in terms of the accountability and responsibility, what I tend to see is that the leaders often, they won't step back and let the middle managers get on with things. So there tends to be that micromanaging type of behavior. It was mentioned earlier on about the leaders wanting to take the glory and not wanting anybody being able to shine and being seen as doing a really, really good job. So they want the middle managers, the more junior people to do the work, but they want to get the glory.
I love that one. Getting the glory. Yeah, it sounds so familiar. They get the glory if the project is successful, right? If it's not successful or fails, they disappear, I think, Catherine.
Yeah, that's definitely true. I've seen lots of examples where there's confusion over, you know, who the SRO is. But if it's a success, people are sort of trying to jump in and claim it was all theirs.
Yeah, exactly. Crazy. Okay, thank you, Catherine. I'm going to John now. John, welcome. Share your views and what you think about this. John is trying to connect. No, sorry, I'm talking Guy. Guy, it's your Guy Wolf, please.
Hello. Can you hear me all right?
We hear you. Where are you calling from?
Yes, I'm calling from Cincinnati, Ohio. It's about 0 degrees Fahrenheit here.
Wow. Lovely.
Hey, you brought up first, thanks for hosting this. I'm looking forward to more of them. You've attracted a really good following here, Antonio. You used a couple of words, control and authority. And what I would say is control, especially over other people, is an illusion. It's been that way, I guess, since the dawn of humankind, at least since Genesis 3. What we do have, though, we don't have nothing as PMs. We do have influence. And in some cases, organizational authority can improve one's influence, but it's not guaranteed. But I think the way, at least I have approached project management, is to make sure I have influence with others, and that's usually derived from an honest acceptance and priority to their desires.
I love that. I like that. Yes, it's true. It's true. And yeah, it's so aligned with what I think is letting go. It's empowering. If you want to hire good people, you cannot make all these decisions as an executive, right? And you cannot control what these smart people do. Otherwise, they will leave. So it's so good. Thank you, Guy. Thank you. There's one more. Yeah, good to see you from the Netherlands.
Hi, Antonio. Great to be here. I have two remarks. I think since 1993, we start with the certification of project managers to make a distinction between managers and project managers. And the statement was that managers can't manage a project and project managers can't manage a team of staff. So maybe I said it from the wrong side. So. But I did see many organizations with two career paths, one for managers and one for project managers, which seems to work. So switching from one ladder to another ladder was not easy. Not everybody was successful. In respect to responsibilities, senior managers tend to walk away when the project is in trouble. There's no strong commitment, and they are more focused on their own career path, I think. So if a project is in trouble, they walk away because it can affect their career.
Thank you.
But that is very negative. By the way, today there were today there were 2 news items in the Netherlands. One of ASML is very successful last year, but they will cut 1,700 manager positions. And Amazon is doing the same for 17,000 managers to be more flexible, more dynamic. So maybe the need from the market and the fact that companies have to respond faster will solve many of the issues we have today.
Yeah, since I think like Q4 last year and now going on, you see a lot of companies cutting 15-20%, and they're mostly middle managers. And I think it's all aligned with what we're talking here. I talk about it in the book and in my keynote, saying that, right, we need to get rid of middle layers, but it should not be an opportunity to fire people. I think the companies I saw that were more successful were redeploying most of these people. Of course, there might be some voluntary leaves, but it should not be cost cutting because it will hurt them. So we'll see. But thank you, Jeff, for sharing. ISLM work there, so I know how successful is that company. Thank you. Let me go to Rick. Rick, Heck, good to see you, Rick. Can you share what you just wrote in the chat, or not chat, in the Rick? Can you please share that?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Hello, Antonio. It's good to talk with you again.
Good to see you. Yeah.
My name is Rick Heck. I'm in Green Bay, Wisconsin, in the United States. Related to the hierarchy, what we see is the hierarchy limits transformations when that hierarchy receives a perceived lower benefit from the transformation. Although the total company may benefit from the transformation, that hierarchy or area of business may receive a lower benefit. And then that lower benefit causes the hierarchy or that area of business to put a lower priority on the transformation. And maybe depending upon the area of business or the hierarchy, that individual could have enough power or status to even stop the transformation. So it's an interesting dynamic of, where is the perceived benefit and how can we move past, how can we focus on like total company benefit or total organization benefit versus benefits of specific areas of business?
Thank you. I like that. Yes, I recognize that too. I want to ask also Kevin to share his comment there. Also, I'm reflecting, what are the hierarchy-driven behaviors that are most damaging? I think we talk about control, ego, getting the credit. Yeah, these are damaging behaviors. So if there's anything else, what are the damaging behaviors? It's something that we could spend also another session. Let me go to Kevin. Let me see if I find you here so you can share your comment. Where are you, Kevin? What a mess I've done. Sorry for this mess. I don't see Kevin, but I want to go to then another comment from Christina Bradford. Do you mind just sharing while I think that was a good point. Christina, can you share your thought?
Good morning. I'm
Good
calling
morning.
from New Orleans today. And one of the things that I did when I was thinking through everything that people were saying, it's the communications also and the consistency with the messaging, and then adjusting as needed is so vital with any of the transformations that are going throughout a company. Yes, so there's some of the thoughts that were going through my mind.
Thank you. Yeah, great points. One thing I was trying to remember, when have I seen leadership change in that? Do you have any examples where you talk to a leader, say, listen, you're working hierarchical, this is not needed, or there are things that you need to, have you, or not you, but you've seen leaders change to embrace this other type of leadership? Anybody has an example that you want to share? I'll be thinking about me as well. When did I see that the leader understood that there were two different roles? One is to manage day-to-day business operations. That, of course, control is important, decision-making from the top, and they switch to be more team coach, where the best ideas win, not the hierarchy wins. I'm trying to think if anybody has any real experience, not theoretical. Please raise your hand and I'll give you access. But this is really something that I'm very interested in. I think we could all learn. I have, now that I talk, I know personally Alan Mulally. Alan was a program director at Boeing. This is many years ago. Alan Mulally. He was the program director of the new Boeing. I think was the 777. I don't remember. It was a transformative new plane. And he was so successful that he became the CEO of Boeing. And then from there, he was hired by Ford. Ford was struggling, and Alan was telling me that his leadership style when he was running this type of projects was caring about people, transparency, open communication. Almost everyone could know everything. He was doing, don't know if it was weekly or bi-weekly, big steering committees, and anybody could join. There were a few sections that were just for the more senior leaders in that steering committee. Maybe that's 10%, but the other 90%, you could dial in and you could just listen. You could pose questions. So imagine how many people were aware of what's going on, the progress, the challenges. So now that I think about it, Alan Mulally is a really good example of how leaders can change their behavior depending on running their operations while leading the transformation work. Any other of you have experience, or do you have seen that somewhere in any company? You can raise your hand if you've done. Beniamino.
Yes, very quickly, Antonio. For me, the experience was when you demonstrate a success, you know what I mean? Is an event in my company to change, was a multi-project activities. Yeah, and then, you know, at the first one, we got really, you know, based on the fact that we know everybody of us knows the concept of iceberg or ignorance, right? You know, that people doesn't know the details. And, you know, this changed after the first success, you know, after the first success, building the trust, you know, again, this was changing the approach. But at the beginning, especially when you have something new out of the comfort zone, something
Yeah.
new with a lot of things to be, completely unknown. This is not easy to manage.
No, it's not easy to manage. And this leads to another thought, which I often discuss when I teach, is should a project manager, imagine you're managing a big transformation project, and you are constantly disrupted by hierarchy, either on decisions, either on power, either on control. Should you be able to stop the project and say, listen, this is not going to work. It's we need to do things differently. I know you need all this for you running your business, but for the part of the change and transformation, we need different behavior, different leadership, different rules. Should we stop a project, or that's too risky and you just probably going to get fired and just do it and fail again, because you're going to fail anyway with the hierarchy challenges? What do you think?
I'm in a meeting here. What's this about? I need it in 3 seconds. What? No, don't call me.
Sorry, there was somebody I had to mute. Who wants to share? Have you ever stopped a project because of these challenges? Stop or pause and say, listen, let's fix this problem first, because I strongly believe that I didn't do it only at the end of my career when I saw it more clear, but maybe that should be part of the PMBOK and other big kind of books. Elena, what's your take here?
Well, I can share some of my personal experience, and that was related to a project that I run in the cement industry. So I used the tactics that I observed during our safety, while working with our safety function, and with the philosophy that safety is first. The idea is that if a worker, anyone, sees that there is a safety threat, a person can disregard anybody's order. If a person or a worker can claim there is a safety, so then I will just not follow the authorities' order if there is a safety issue or a potential issue. So if there was a couple of instances when I brought in these ideas that if we continue in this and that direction, there might be potential safety issues. Since the safety culture were very strong in that organization of mine, that approach helped. That approach a couple of times, not to stop the project, but to pause and bring in an idea that more people have to be involved in resolving an issue, as opposed to just following orders from the top.
Okay, I like that. I like that. If there's something like this in your case, health and safety, which is vital, you are allowed to stop the project or pause it, or it's really it's a nice kind of, okay, if we see that we're getting slow because of the hierarchy, we have a rule in the company that we can. I like it. It's nice. It gives a lot of kind of thinking, food for thoughts of how to apply this into the project phase world. Any other thoughts? I wonder, do you agree that we should be stronger in these situations when we have that hierarchy imposed on us? And should we step up and say, listen, this is not going to work? We better stop the project and pause it? Or do you think we will not keep our jobs maybe, or we will not be well received and say, just shut up and keep doing? I don't know. I guess depends on the culture of the company, but it's just such an important thing that is just make us struggle all the time, and we'll need to think how we can address that. Any thoughts?
Antonio is Beniamino. Can I comment on it?
Yeah.
Okay, for me, I have an example. For me, the example, especially when you work on some operation, when you need to run a project and changing the way the operation is done, nobody want to pay the cost of the project. Everyone to have a successful go live, but nobody want to pay the cost to manage onboarding, training, testing, and so on. And in this case, for me, we should stop the project, especially when the people say, I don't give you time to test, or don't give you real time test on night, test on the Saturday, test or whatever. And for me, I start using the expression, I don't want to build a Concorde, I want to build something that works. Give me what I request, otherwise it's better we stop everything. Because taking a risk of doing something with not the right condition is something that at the end will be against the project manager. And it's important that the sponsor need to understand for any transformation there is a cost.
Yeah.
Because you change what you're doing, you need to pay cost. It's better to pay before, not after.
And you're sorry, I kind of drop. I don't know what is happening with this webinar. Anyway, sorry, I want to finish on time. Very important to keep that. Please share any thoughts that you might have. I will pick up some of the ideas discussed, and next week we'll talk about something related. I think this is a critical topic, but we'll first, I need to fix that we can see each other, that we can use the chat. So apologies for the messed up here, because it's just I'm learning how to create these webinars and streaming, and so next time will be better. Thank you for joining. I will create like maybe a LinkedIn group where I share the video, and we can keep commenting. So it should not be just this 45 minutes every week, but we can have more dialogue in that LinkedIn. So I will be setting up that LinkedIn group, and we can continue the dialogue there. Thank you. Thank you for joining. Please feel free to share the invitation. Now anybody can register. I made another mistake at the beginning. Now anyone can join, and we'll share the recording with everyone. Thank you. I'll see you next week, same time and same day, Wednesdays. Take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.